Hello, everyone. I was going to talk about the July 20th plot real quick. This is going to be a lot shorter than a lot of other videos I've made. So trust me, I won't ramble on too much. But basically, with the July 20th plot, what you ended up having was, you know, Germany is on the defensive now, and it's in the middle of World War II. Germany is on the defensive, and there starts to be some growing sentiment in the army that we're not going to win this war, although there are going to be a lot of people that either aren't saying that because they're afraid Hitler's going to kill them for not being and for being suspected of not being loyal, or they're in denial. They've fallen all into Nazi ideology and they're going to fight for it. Well, anyway, start having this underground movement coming to assassinate Hitler, which there are some attempts on his life, which a lot of them, like there was one that was an attempt at poisoning, and several people did get poisoned at this dinner he ate at, and he got poisoned, but he didn't ingest near as much, so he got really sick, but he got out of it. And then after that, he pretty much went vegetarian, and he got a lot more careful, so you couldn't poison him. And then you had some people lose their nerve and not shoot him when they had a chance, things like that. But then, anyway, so at least in the July 20th plot, what you end up having is you have this colonel named Colonel Stauffenberg. Colonel Stauffenberg. But anyway, he was in battle in North Africa, and he got, a shell went off nearby him, and he lost an eye, so he had an eye patch, like a pirate, and then he lost his hand. Now, he did not have a hook for a hand like a pirate, but, he's missing a hand, he's missing an eye, he's either got 2 or 3 fingers on this hand. So, he's pretty banged up. But anyway, he doesn't care for the Nazi ideology so much. He's more of a, he's just doing it because he's a military guy. He's going along with it because he's a military guy. And he loves his country. And it's just like, he really doesn't care whether they win or lose. But anyway, he gets assigned to really where he's going to be with Hitler sometimes. Because he's a colonel. He's pretty high up. Is he a general? No. But he's got he's got a little bit of an inside track to Hitler. So anyway, and there's a couple generals that join with him in this. So what ends up happening is with the July 20th plot, Hitler's at this little compound, just kind of out in the German countryside, which is still there today. And the plan was to set a bomb off there in a briefcase, and inside this bunker, it'll kill everyone in the room, but it'll for sure kill everyone in the room, Hitler included, and then, then somebody makes the call once it happens, and then it'll be, and then basically you'll start having these people, these generals take over the government. And anyway, a big part of this was there was an order if the Fuhrer had been killed, then basically what would happen is the general that was in charge of protecting Berlin would be temporarily in charge, and then he would effectively end up leading a coup. So it was important to get this guy. But anyway, here's what happened. It almost worked. It got so close to working. However, there were so many things that Hitler got so lucky with that kept him alive. What happened was, now Stauffenberg was going to go into this meeting, but he wasn't originally going to take the briefcase bomb in, but it ended up being he did, because I think somebody couldn't go there. They were afraid their cover was going to get blown or something like that. But anyway, or Hitler would get wise. So Stauffenberg came in, and because he only had like 2 or 3 fingers, he had to have an assistant with him. So, and he couldn't dress himself. So this assistant had to, so he excused himself. As soon as he came, he excused himself, went to a dressing room, had his assistant in there, and his assistant helped him put together the bomb, which was loaded with, plastic explosive. Well, anyway, they go into this. Anyway, and they almost get caught in there. Well, anyway, he goes into this. He goes into this meeting with Hitler, and what he's going to do is he's going to wait and wait. And this is a timer. This bomb is timed, by the way. So he's got to get out of there, too, because he's supposed to make the call. But anyway, it's really, really, really hot. So they decide to move it out of this underground bunker because in there, and they move it into basically this hut. I mean, I don't know how best to describe it. It was more or less a hut. And they put this big, giant oak table in there, this big, heavy hardwood table. And Hitler's, of course, at the end of it, pounding his fist, doing, all the stuff he did when he was in a meeting. Well, anyway, Stauffenberg was on the far end. I believe he was on, if you're looking at it, the table like this, okay, Hitler was over here. He was like right here. All right. Well, he set it down. Okay. He actually thought about it. He set the briefcase on the right side of the leg because he wanted it to blast up, and he didn't want to take a chance at the table doing this if he put it way over here and it just went and it just knocked Hitler silly, because he kind of had this thought. Well, what he did was he left it there. He put it there, and then he was about to leave. Then Hitler started talking to him, and he's just like, crud, this bomb's going to go off. I got to get out of here. So Hitler eventually stops talking to him, and then he has to excuse himself. So he leaves, and then he gets out of there, and Hitler. Now, one of the survivors recounted what happened. It was Hitler was banging his fist on the table, making a point because he was mad at somebody in the room. And then it ended up causing the briefcase to jostle and kind of fall over and get in the way of people. So this guy kind of picked it up and set it back up against the leg of the table. But when he did it, he put it up against the other side. Now, when it did it, here we go. This is a table. This black thing is a table, not a phone. Okay, anyway, so now got the bomb right here. Hitler's where my wiggly finger is. So then it goes off. It blows, it kills everyone over here. It blows the table up like this, knocks Hitler against the wall, knocks him silly, probably concusses him. But this big, heavy oak table keeps shrapnel from hitting him. So he ends up living by pure dumb luck. And, they just saw this hut go boom. They assume he's dead. They make the call to the general in Berlin, and he says that Hitler's dead, and and then they tend to Hitler. He, gathers his bearings, and then he ends up calling. What ends up happening is he calls this major, and he basically, he says to him, he knows that, he knows this was an inside job and there was an attempt on his life. So he says to the guy, "Do you recognize my voice?" He's like, and the guy's like, "Yes." And he's like, "Don't believe what you're hearing. There's a coup going on, and I know that these people are behind it. I don't know everyone, but I know at least these people are. So you're to arrest so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so." Well, anyway, and he wanted them alive, because he wanted to interrogate them and, try to figure out everybody. Well, what ends up happening is you end up having a higher up commander who's really pro-Nazi, get really mad at this, and they round up these people. He orders these guys to be shot. Now, coming back, that guy who was a high up military commander knew of this plot the whole time. But he was trying to play both sides, and he wasn't going to say anything because he was waiting to see if it succeeded. So either way, he was looking to see either way he would get out of this. Hitler finds this out because someone rats on him. and he is killed as well just a little later. So, and Stauffenberg is shot as well. But anyway, but the last thing I'll talk about with the July 20th plot is he when they were getting ready to execute him, his assistant ran out in front of the bullets because he was that loyal to Stauffenberg. And so he died. So they loaded up again, and then they went to shoot Stauffenberg. Before they shot him, he yelled out, "Long live Holy Germany!" And then he died. Now, if this had happened, war in Europe would have been over quicker. It really would have. But Hitler lived by just pure dumb luck. Just him pound his fist and the bomb just moving over a little bit, and a stupid oak table. I mean, why couldn't it have been a cheap, cheap table they use in wrestling? I don't know. Okay. Anyway, I'm getting off track. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope. I mean, I really encourage you to read more. To read about the July 20th plot, because it's a very interesting story and just an awesome conspiracy to read about. So okay, I hope you enjoy this. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. Stay sane.